An announcement that we've agreed to a new 5-year contract with Coach Musselman, and the details of that contract will be shared, I think, tomorrow. Shared with everyone tomorrow, but it's a big commitment from the university, and we're excited about that. We're excited about the direction that Coach Muss has this program going in, and frankly, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into the mix behind this commitment. It's not just about wins and losses on the court, but it's about the type of program that he's building and the type of people he's bringing into this university, and it's been a lot of fun for us to watch the resurgence of Wolfpack basketball. I do want to mention just one thing on the terms of the salary as they come out tomorrow. This is not being funded. This increased salary is not being funded by state money, student fee money. I'd like to make that really clear. This is the community stepping up. And we talk a lot about what this community means to Wolfpack athletics, and I've never seen anything like this, where you have the response from the community in terms of attendance at games. Having 6 games over 10,000 last year is just amazing. Having the all-time largest crowd in the history of Lawler Event Center for the UNLV game last year, and then having a second sold-out game last year is just absolutely remarkable. But that response from the community has allowed us to do this contract. The second piece is we have a group of donors who have stepped up to help us fund this contract as well. So the big story here is the community has responded. The community has seen what Coach Muss can do. The community sees what the future looks like. And as a community, we've all stepped forward and said, this is something we want to do, and we're excited to offer this new contract to Coach Muss. So I'll just close with one quick story. And someone asked me recently if I'm surprised at the quick turnaround, surprised at the level of success of the men's basketball program in just 2 short years from where we were. And I said, you know, I'm not really that surprised, because anyone that has ever met Eric Musselman would never be surprised at this kind of a turnaround, because he put so much of his life and so much into the program that I'm not surprised at all. And I couldn't be happier about what the future holds, and the next 5 years of this contract, and hopefully many, many more years after that as well. So we're so pleased to offer this contract, and I think Coach Muss has some more things maybe to say about that, and then we'll talk about some basketball. All right? Thank you all for being here today. Coach Muss, you ready to take it? Yep. All right. It's all yours.
First of all, from my family, my wife and I, my 2 sons, and our daughter, we'd like to thank President Johnson and Doug Knuth and the entire Northern Nevada community for believing in us and you know, providing us with the new contract. I think it's going to help us in so many ways from a recruiting standpoint, and give our program a lot of stability going forward. To piggyback off of that, my wife and I are going to donate back to Nevada Athletics $50,000 per year as a show of gratitude, and you know, it's all about giving back to our program and to the other athletics here at Nevada. So we're extremely excited, extremely happy about this opportunity, and like I said, I think it's a great thing for our program. Stability-wise going forward, and you know, we're really excited about the new staff that we've put together. Coach Johnny Jones being named about a couple weeks ago as the associate head coach, and Coach Jones and I have prior history. We both know each other inside and out as coaches, and maybe more importantly as people. And then obviously Coach Dupree is back with us. We've elevated Anthony Ruda from the ops position. I think it's important that all the young people in our office that have put in time and a commitment, that those guys see that people in our program get elevated. And then we're going to elevate Brandon Chambers from his current position of video coordinator to the ops position. So it's the first time since I've been here that we've put together a staff that I've known everybody prior to being a part of Nevada basketball, and we're really, really excited about the chemistry that we'll have, not only on the floor, but just as importantly off the floor, and that there's stability for our players as well going forward. Kind of the state of the roster. We've obviously, added 4 new transfers that'll be coming in once we start summer school for the 10-week summer school program, and we couldn't be happier. It was a situation that in a small time frame, we got 4 players that we feel are all going to be impactful players. 2 of them guards, both of them actually combo guards, and then a couple forwards that have great versatility. So we're overly excited about that we get to work again with 4 players during their development year, where they'll be able to not only us to be able to touch them on a daily basis to try to get them to improve in some of their areas that they need to improve in, but maybe more importantly, and the thing that has really helped us in the last 2 years become a successful program is that every day in practice, our current roster will be challenged by our scout team. And it's played out perfectly for us in years 1 and 2 here, and we feel like going into year 3 that the 4 guys that we have coming in are all going to really challenge our basketball team. So really, just to kind of hit on what our current team looks like, our point guards are Lindsey Drew and Hallis Cook, and Charlie Tooley will be back, and then we've added John Jones. Off guards, Caleb Martin and Josh Hall, and our small forwards are Cody Martin and Kendall Stevens, and then power forwards Jordan Caroline and Leland King, and at center Elijah Foster and John Carlson. So we feel like, for the first time we have multiple positions covered. We've kind of been dealing with an 8- and 9-man roster the last couple years, and one of the things that we don't talk enough about as we're assembling our roster, and we try to have sustainable success year after year, which is when the transfer guys come into play, is we spend an enormous amount of time as a staff trying to get quality walk-ons, and we feel like our walk-on guys are as good as scholarship players, and John Carlson and Charlie Tooley have proven that. Juwan Anderson did in year 1. And then with the addition of John Jones, we feel like we have 3 guys that allow us to have the 4 sit-out guys. And so we're excited about the depth of our current roster. From a recruiting standpoint, we're overly excited about the 2018 class. Obviously, we can't talk about student athletes that we're recruiting, but what we can talk about is that there's a lot of bigs in our geographical recruiting location, that for the last 2 years we've been focused on the 2018 class, and our staff will continue to recruit throughout the month of July and watch our targets as much as we can in July, and then September we'll be able to go to the high schools and set up some in-home visits, and we're extremely excited about what the recruiting in the 18 class holds for us. As far as scheduling, we still have 4 games to try to put together on our schedule. The first year it was pretty easy to schedule games. The second year it was a little bit more challenging, and right now it's overly challenging. But we're trying to put together the best possible schedule and balance, what it would take to try to put ourselves in contention from an NCAA standpoint. We had a great meeting that Doug Knuth and I attended just this past weekend, and got a lot of great feedback on what we need to do as a conference, and then what we need to do as an individual program to put ourselves in the right light come Selection Sunday. And we'll continue to work on that amongst our staff to get as quality of 4 games as we can. We're playing in a tournament in Las Vegas around Christmas, and that's a market that we want to continue to be in for a variety of reasons, and we're excited about playing back there where a lot of our student athletes' family can come and watch. And then we're hoping to add a neutral site game against a top 25 BCS school that will be announced hopefully a little bit later in a couple weeks. And then that brings us to the summer, and our guys are finishing up finals over the next 10 days, and then they'll get a 3-week break. and then we come back and we start our summer session, and we can work with our guys 8 of the 10 weeks that they'll be here in summer school, and we're extremely excited about that. We have, just like in the past, we're going to plan our trips to Tahoe to get our conditioning in. We'll continue to do spin class with our guys. We added yoga last year. We'll continue with that this summer, and we're looking at trying to do some different ideas like boxing classes and some things that'll challenge our guys mentally and physically. So that's kind of a state of where we are. And before we open it up to questions, just want to say again from myself and our family how excited we are of the commitment by the university and the entire community, because we feel the love, and it's you know, oftentimes when we talk as a family, we're kind of speechless at the support that we've had, and this is home, and we're overly excited about what the future holds for our program and for all of our student athletes. Any questions?
Coach, you've made a lot of stops in your career. What is it about this community that made you and your family say, you know, let's want to sit down roots here?
I think the biggest thing is, you know, who you're working for, and it starts with President Johnson and Doug Knuth and Rory, and you know, we have a partnership, and the communication, I can't imagine working for 3 better people. And you know, when you're an NBA coach, there's GMs and owners, and at the collegiate level, it's obviously the president and the athletic director, and so to me, it's not just, you know, how I feel about who we're working with, but it's also how my wife feels about everybody, and the support that we've been given. You know, it's a collective family effort. How we put together our staff and everything that they've been supportive of. I can't imagine a better place to work. And then the way that the community has come out and supported us from an attendance standpoint, and the way that the boosters have donated since day one. You know, it's a special place, and when you're at a special place, you know, you've got to appreciate it, and you know, to us, this is an unbelievable opportunity going forward.
When you took the job a little over 2 years ago, did you have imagined this amount of community support for you in the basketball program?
No, I mean, it's interesting because I work out, you know, 3 or 4 times a week with Coach Allen, and I know, you know, even talking to him, and he's been living here for over 30 years. It's remarkable what we've done, and you know, it really gets back to the players, and I think because our players play with such great energy and enthusiasm that it's infectious, and people want to come and support teams that play hard and play with enthusiasm, but you know, when we got here 2 years ago, I mean, you know, and Doug and I talked even in the interview. I mean, we envisioned, you know, being a program that contends every year, and obviously in years 1 and 2 we've done a great job, and our players have shown the commitment really in the off season, which you know, this has to be our most challenging off season because we do have a target on our back now, and we're not going to surprise anybody. We're not going to surprise anybody in non-conference. You know, most of the publications that continue to come out media-wise, you know, have us as a team to beat in the conference, and with that comes added responsibility and added pressure, and so we as a group have to understand that, respect that, and embrace it. Yeah, I mean, Cam, his agent announced it. Cam didn't. So, you know, we look forward to starting tomorrow, to watching Cam at the Chicago pre-draft. It's a great honor for him to be one of 60 players to play in front of every NBA general manager, all the scouts. It's the most heavily, you know, recruited event leading up to the 2017 draft, and Cam's done a great job of preparing himself. And you know, one of the neatest things was just last weekend, Cam came and took a weekend class, and he's going to continue to work on his education and wants to get a degree from this university. And you know, to see him at the spring football game the other day, and he had just come from a weekend class. Was pretty neat. You know, a lot of guys, when they're getting ready to go take that next step at the professional level, sometimes they put off the academics, and Cam has done an incredible job of sticking to what he needs to do, both on the floor and off the floor. And he's got a great, bright future, and a lot of where his future takes him is going to depend on this week in Chicago, and then what he does in his individual workouts. And as an entire, you know, athletic program, everybody's supporting him and rooting for him, and you know, we hope to see great things out of Cameron.
When you've gotten calls on, you know, on Cam from NBA teams, I guess what scouting report have you given them?
Yeah, I think you know, when teams call us about Cam, we talk about a lot of things. Had a conversation with someone the other day for about 45 minutes, and I think, you know, you start off with stuff on the floor and how he's improved as a three-point shooter. Cam was not a three-point shooter in high school, and obviously he evolved into one of the best shooting 4 or 5 men in the entire country, and that was due to his work ethic at late hours and in the off season, and then you start getting into other areas, his intangibles on the floor of shot blocking and timing and things that nobody can coach, but he's just blessed with. And then you get into the off-court stuff, and you give examples like what happened with him from an academic standpoint with his weekend class, when he didn't have to do that, but he's continuing to finish this semester as strong as he possibly can. And it's neat because Cam has come a long way off the floor, and he's still a young guy, and he's going to continue to improve in so many different areas. And I think a lot of NBA teams are overly intrigued with Cameron based on where the NBA game is going. A lot of people playing with smaller units, and the traditional center has kind of gone by the wayside, at least in the last couple years, and probably in the next few years in the future.
You've talked a lot about the future of your program up there. What does the future of Wolfpack basketball hold?
I mean, we just got to keep getting better every day, and you know, to me, it doesn't really matter what, you know, sport you're talking about. The lifeblood's obviously recruiting, and we need to continue as a staff to recruit on a daily basis. There's no days off, as my wife can tell you. Even when we filled the last 4 scholarships, she kind of took a sigh of relief. And that night when I got home, I was going through depth charts for 18, and you know, you continue to call and text, and you got to try to put in as much work as you possibly can. But I think the future is, you know, I think President Johnson and Doug and Rory, I think that we all, you know, our belief is that going into every season that we're a team that's going to contend for a Mountain West championship. And you know, we don't want to be a middle of the road team. We want to be a team that you know, heads into the conference tournament with a chance to make the NCAA tournament, and again to do it year after year. I think that, you know, we had some tough decisions to make even this off season. Do we add to the upcoming year, or do we continue to say, you know what, the following year we got a lot of really good players that are sitting out and getting better daily, making our current guys better, but we might not have quite the depth. And we're proud that we have not had many transfers at all, because when new staffs come in, there's oftentimes a lot of transfers, and for the most part it's been extremely minimal with our basketball program. And we want to continue that, and so we feel the way that we're doing it right now is going to allow us to be really, really good now for the next 2 years for sure. And then we got to see what we bring in over the next 24 months from a recruiting standpoint.
You mentioned Elijah Foster as you were running down the roster. Is he officially employed?
Yeah, Elijah is. Elijah has, you know, we're proud of his growth, his maturity that he's shown off the floor the last 6 months, and he's earned the opportunity to return to basketball, and you know, we look forward to. And we're excited about his senior year.
I know you guys are working to get a off-season kind of tour of Costa Rica or different countries. Is that something that you guys are able to do, or is that still in the works?
Yeah, I mean, this is you know, Chris's question is about the you know, it's our 4-year cycle turn to you know, to do a foreign tour, and Doug and Rory and I are continuing to work on finalizing something. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll have something finalized. But it is our thought process that we would love to go somewhere this summer, and I think it would be great for our guys to to be able to get an extra 10 days of practice, and then to go be able to play 5 games outside of our area, and for us to be able to do things off the floor as far as team bonding, but also from an educational standpoint. So all that stuff is in the works, and again, we hope to make an announcement here in the really near future that our guys are going to get to experience a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Eric, your philosophy of scheduling, are you a 2-for-1 guy? I mean, will you take on something like that if you can get a good, like, say, a top 25 team? Would you do that? We'd
love a 2-for-1, and if you know of anyone, Daryl, please let us know, because right now no one is bitten on the 2-for-1. We tried 3-for-1 the other day with somebody, and I guess the next route is asking somebody if they'll do a 4-for-1 and create history, because that's probably never been done before. But it's challenging, but we are working on it, and I think that, you know, when it's all said and done, I think we'll have a really quality schedule. We already have, you know, enough road games, and obviously there's a little bit more pop when you go on the road if you're able to win games, and so we have some games that we have to get you know, from last year playing at home, that we're going to go on the road and play some people. So I think that's going to help us as well.
Coach, second straight year you've added an established former head coach from a pretty good program. What kind of luxury is that to have now that Coach Jones is?
You know, I mean, first of all, you know, when you're able to hire a friend and someone you respect, and, you know, it was not easy for me to get to the point of asking Coach Jones if he'd be willing to join us, because you know, you hold somebody like him in such high esteem, and so I kind of treaded lightly for a couple weeks and danced around it. But not only am I excited, my wife's excited, because Danielle and Coach's wife are really good friends, and it's you know, it's a family, the way that we want to put this thing together. But you know, I think that having him sit next to me, number one, he can help mentor our other coaches. Obviously, Coach Dupree is going into his second year as a coach, and he's made unbelievable growth in year one. And Coach Ruda, it'll be his first time doing it. And I think that, you know, maybe the biggest benefit to our program is just that Coach Jones can kind of mentor those two guys. And then obviously with me, you know, he's got a really good personality, and I think he'll be able to kind of rein me in a little bit. And so that'll be important, because, you know, when he says something to you, you know, I'm going to listen. Maybe sometimes Coach Ruda says something, and I keep doing what I'm doing. But Coach Jones will help me in a lot of different areas.
What about his son? What kind of player is he? What do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, John is you know, he can shoot the ball. I mean, anybody that made 6 threes in one game, and he's got good quickness, and any time that you can add a coach's son to your program, I think it helps in a lot of different areas. He's got a high basketball IQ. He's going to get along great with our guys. You know, and the biggest thing is, you know, before he decided to come here, he came on campus and fell in love with it. And so to me, you know, anytime you can get a guy that really wants to be here, it's impactful. And obviously I've known his son now for the last 3 years, and he's a high character kid, and so for all those reasons we're really excited, because we do really value our walk-ons, and we think that they have an unbelievable impact on our team in the locker room, off the floor, scholastic, all these different areas. And so it's important that we not only get guys that are really good on the floor in those spots, but also guys that continue to make the level of practice go up, and then guys that you can use in games as well.
Anything else for Coach Muss? All right.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for coming out.